Hey guys, so tonight we're going to be talking about two things. First of all, textbook prices, and second of all, campus safety. Before we get into our topics for tonight though, I want to give huge props to the candidates that have actually taken the time to reply to the questions I've been asking. And so if you look beside me now, you'll find links to video replies from Danny, Chris, and Annie. I was only really planning on talking about student safety tonight, but then this textbook price issue came up. And this is something that really annoys me, so I'm actually going to talk about that first. The textbook price issue comes up in Chris's platform. And I mean, first I'll give you props because you did help lower the price of course packs. So that's awesome. But you should have stopped there. I want to make sure that you guys don't confuse textbooks and course packs. And I'm going to tell you now that Chris Walker can do nothing about the price of textbooks. Dude, this is a lie. You saying you are going to lower textbook prices is a lie, and you know it. Why is this a lie? A lot of reasons actually. First of all, we don't own the bookstore. As a students' union, we do not own the bookstore. Second of all, the university doesn't even operate the bookstore. The bookstore is independently operated. I can tell you for a fact that publishers have minimal margins on textbooks. They make a little bit of money. The bookstore also has minimum margins on textbooks. In fact, the bookstore actually loses money selling textbooks. They lose money. They do not make money off textbooks. You might think they're gouging you, but they actually lose money. They make all their money back on the stupid sweaters that we all buy around homecoming for like $90. And I know what a lot of you guys are thinking, but I found it cheaper on Amazon. Yeah, for one of two reasons. It's probably being sold by a massive company that can afford to have even smaller margins, or it's being sold by the publisher itself, in which case they don't need the retail markup, so it will be a little bit cheaper. But as far as the bookstore goes, textbooks aren't getting any cheaper. And Chris, I hate that this is a platform item that you're trying to get student attention around, because of course every student's going to hear cheaper textbooks. Hell yeah! Now, what you could do is encourage profs to use more course packs rather than textbooks, or you could even start trying to encourage profs to use ebooks because they're cheaper than the physical textbook itself. But that's not what you say in your platform or in your video. You say, make textbooks cheaper. So clarify what you're actually getting at and don't deceive students. Let's move on to the real issue that I wanted to talk about tonight, which is campus safety. And first off, I'm going to talk about Chris and Jen, because neither of them mentioned campus safety in their platforms. And with the study space issue, I was kind of indifferent whether it was in your platform or not, but not with this one. And let me tell you why. Student safety as a problem is seriously under-recognized at this school. Did you know that Kitchener-Waterloo has the highest sexual assault rate of anywhere in Canada? And in fact, 1 in 6 girls at Laurier has been or will be a victim of sexual assault. 1 in 6. On top of that, students are regularly assaulted while walking home or even held at gunpoint, if many of you remember the multiple gunpoint incidents last year. And this year on top of it, break-ins have been a huge issue, both in residence and in student housing areas. Laurier has one of the worst funded safe walk programs, so foot patrol, in all of Canada. One of the worst funded in all of Canada. Next up we have Annie, who actually mentions student safety in her platform, but in one sentence and only addresses it at first years. It basically says you want to engage the campus safety committees we have with first years, which is great. Targeting first years is actually really important because if the first years are aware of Foot Patrol, ERT, Peer Helpline, and they use those services, then they'll continue to use them throughout their university career. But that's all you do to address it. So I'd really like you to go above and beyond that and know how else you're going to address student safety. This is so much bigger of an issue, and it does extend into the community and break-ins, and we have a responsibility to students. Second to last, we have Caleb, who, again, gets points for actually talking about student safety in his platform and recognizing it as an issue, so you're doing much better than a lot of the other candidates on this topic. But the only thing you talk about is improving the relationship between Foot Patrol and special constables. What? I was the Foot Patrol coordinator last year, and I know the Foot Patrol coordinator this year, and you never came to talk to either of us, because either one of us would have told you that we already have a fantastic relationship with special constables. Did you do any research, because if you talk to anyone about this, they could have told you that communication between foot patrol and special constables is not the leading safety issue here. That's a good relationship. There are bigger fish to fry, and you don't talk about anything else regarding student safety. Last, we have Danny, who talks not about improving the relationship between foot patrol and special constables, but between the union and special constables, which has most definitely been a testy one this year. But I want to know how you're going to do that. What steps are you actually going to take to improve this relationship? Improving relationships in the university is so much harder than people think. It's not just like, well, I'll just tell them I want to be friends. No, that's not how it works. There's bureaucracy. Think about how you're getting there logically. You also talk about providing safe and secure study space. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, I study on campus right now, and I feel pretty safe. But you might have to clarify that one for me. Lastly, Danny brings up the emergency polls, which was in Mike Onabalu's platform also. And Mike, buddy, I love you, but I think this is the stupidest point ever. We're supposed to educate people on how to use the emergency poll. I get it, you're supposed to run from one pole to another, but the reality is you just push the freaking button. They'll tell you what to do. You just push a button. It's a giant pole with a button. There's only one button. I mean, there's so many bigger issues with student safety than teaching people how to push a button on a pole. I don't know why this keeps coming up in elections. No, there are other things. Let's get past the poll and look at bigger issues. I think I might have gotten a little frustrated with this one. But this issue really annoys me. And to be honest, I give all of the candidates a failing grade when it comes to addressing student safety. And no one else brought up the textbook price thing, so actually everyone but Chris gets points for not bringing up textbook prices because that was stupid. And I think you should really take it down. But I'm going to stop because I'll start getting frustrated again. I think all the candidates need to take student safety a little bit more seriously. This is a real issue in our school, and much more so in our school than a lot of others because the vast majority of our population doesn't live on campus. So yeah, the campus is covered in cameras and we have special constables who do great work, but everyone lives off campus, and that's where a lot of the problems take place. Why do none of you address this, and how are you going to actually make a difference? This has been a real issue for a long time that's been ignored by a lot of presidents. If you want my vote, you better have a real idea of how you're making this better. Alright, so I've already filmed tomorrow's video, so I can tell you I'm not quite as angry tomorrow. And I'm really going to try and get past this student safety thing, because, yeah. But tomorrow's also the Waterloo campus open forum. It's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I know, it's 5 hours. Don't go at all 5 hours, because it's boring for most of it. But the important stuff starts at about noon, when we'll do the board of directors, and then starting just after 1, I think, is the presidential open forum. And that's the important one that if you get a chance, stop by in the concourse and take a look at. Tomorrow night though, coming out is the board of directors video, so keep your eyes out for that as well.